Each life travels at its own speed and carries its own meaning. When we will reach the end, none of us knows. So we run on until our seasons come to a finish. And what matters is not only how we reach that line, but why.
I knew that she needed to finish. It's within her to finish. But it's purely determination which allows you to finish.
17 years ago, Jim Tracy came to San Francisco University High School, a small private school, to make coaching runners a career. In that time, he's built a dynasty, entering this season 7 state championships, tied for most in California history.
The very first day I say, hey, this is the University High School cross-country team. It's purely your decision to be champions or to not. I'm a person who sees no need to fail when success is offered every day.
Tracy ran 10 miles a day nearly every day of his adult life. Until 3 years ago.
I was out running one day, and my left foot started to make a slapping noise. And sure enough, that got worse and worse, and finally, the foot refused to lift itself at all, finally. And now I can't run at all.
The foot was one of the first signs. Last spring, at 60 years old, Tracy received the diagnosis. He has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, a fatal neurodegenerative condition. While his mind remains sharp, his muscles are shutting down. There is no cure.
The doctors have said, it can kill you very quickly, or it can take its time and just make your life miserable. This progression, is bound to, either ruin my life, by making me completely unable to do anything, or just make my life hard enough to be a greater challenge. And I accepted the second one. I said, hey, it's not going to ruin it, it's just going to make it harder. And if it's a little harder, I can take it,
Before this season began, against Tracy's wishes, school officials told the team about his disease.
I was the first one to start crying. My fear was, I didn't know how long he can live with this disease.
It just hit me that I couldn't imagine cross country without him, and that was tough.
I definitely broke down in tears, and most of my teammates broke down in tears as well. I kind of realized how much he meant to me and to the program, and how hard it was going to be to see him deteriorate over the season.
When you lose something, and you lose it a little bit and a little bit and a little bit at a time, at some point you realize that it's not coming back. Because I've run 1,000,000 miles. I've run 1,000,000 hills. I live in San Francisco, this city of hills. But if I go down the slope all the way, I have a feeling I'm not getting back up. And I'll miss that. I'll miss the climb to the top.
Tracy has never married. His runners are his children, his teams, his family. This fall, that family was determined to support him the simplest way it could, by winning.
We're definitely representing the end of his coaching career. And that's part of the reason that we wanted to do well for Jim at state.
The university team came to the final race of the season, the California State Meet in Fresno in November, determined to win a record 8th championship. Just before the 3.1-mile race, the girls gathered around their captain, Holland Reynolds.
Holland brought us all together, and we huddled into a very close circle, just all right, guys, let's do this for Jim.
Let's do it for Jim.
To do this for Jim.
Do it for Jim.
That's the reason we were there. We just knew that we needed to do it for Jim as a team.
For the 169 runners, the day was wet and unseasonably cold, and the race would be unlike any Tracy's team had ever run before. Shortly after the start, sophomore Jenny Callan fell at the 100-yard mark and was in last place. She got up, passed more than 150 runners, and finished 16th. Junior Bridget Blum had never led a race before in her cross-country career. That day, for more than half the course, she led the pack. She crossed the line third. Senior Adrian Carrister, a star soccer player, had never run in a state final meet before. She finished 25th. Sophomore Lizzie Tierling ran the fastest race of her life by more than a minute. She came in 36th. But a cross-country meet is decided by the combined finishes of a school's top 5 runners, and Holland Reynolds, the team's captain and Tracy's fastest runner, was still on the course with the championship on the line.
I felt good until about 2.5 mile mark. And at that point, I was in second place. All of a sudden, my breathing got faster and faster, and I slowed down. And I didn't really realize how many people were passing me.
Finally, the athletes start coming in, okay? And I see Bridget and I don't see Holland. And instantly, I knew there was something really wrong.
In the final half mile of the course, Reynolds became dehydrated and disoriented, barely able to continue running.
It's agonizing watching her. But no sooner gets about 3 yards from the finish line than she just pitches over and falls down.
I don't remember collapsing.
Oh boy, about 5 meters, hopefully she will get back up.
But right after I collapsed, an official came over to me, and he let me know that if I wanted to finish the race, I had to either get up and walk through or crawl through, but he couldn't help me right then, or else I'd be disqualified.
10 feet away from the line, Reynolds began to crawl.
I do remember looking at the ground and hearing everyone around me.
Such a courageous effort trying to cross that finish.
It never occurred to me that I wouldn't finish. You need to finish, because that's the point.
Reynolds was university's 5th and last official finisher. She crossed the line in 37th place. She was immediately taken to an ambulance and treated for dehydration. Less than an hour later, her teammates told Reynolds she clinched Tracy's 8th state championship when she crawled across the line.
Made him proud to be a coach on our team and to have girls that really care about him and will go to any efforts to do well for him. That's definitely, I think, worth way more than a medal. Just that knowledge that you're responsible for making his last season a great one.
She'd never dropped out before. She'd never let the team down, ever, you know. So the need to finish is great. It's like me. I have a physical problem, but I'm not going to let it stop me from getting somewhere. I'm not going to make it to the finish line unless we consider death the finish line, but she got there.
Maybe what matters is not only how we reach the line and why, but who crosses that line with us.